here are the headlines. National Security Minister credits the JCF Quick Response Team with helping to reduce criminal activity in urban areas. 2 of the persons accused of killing Philip Paulwell's daughter and her mother to return to court next year. And Jamaica expresses support of international court ruling in relation to land border dispute between Guyana and Venezuela. And now the details. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said the Jamaica Constabulary Force Quick Response Team has helped to significantly reduce criminal activity in urban areas in recent times. This as he noted that government spent over $300 million on providing motorcycles for the team since 2018. Speaking at a handing over ceremony for 74 new motorcycles at the Office of the Police Commissioner today, Dr. Chang said mobility is a critical component of the police force. He said the country currently faces the challenge of public disorder, which is often accompanied by street crimes that help to erode the feeling of safety and security in society. In the face of these challenges, Dr. Chang said quick response teams play a pivotal role.
The bikes are partly welcome at this time of the year. The Public Safety and Traffic Control Branch has done a tremendous job since they have been established. They are not yet completely built out or in every area, but the areas they have been assigned to, they have demonstrated effectiveness in reducing criminal activity and bring about greater order. I think I could allude to my own area in Montego Bay, where I think up to the time of PSTB, the number of homicides in downtown St. James, the highest number took place around the police station on Barney Street. I think about 50% of the homicides in Montego take place in that kind of 2-mile radius. With the coming out to PSTB, while they have reduced the absolute numbers, but all that's happening tend to be happening outside of that zone. You get into the hills in Maroon Town, Cambridge, Adelphi, and reflects really the effectiveness of the KR team that have been established in Montego Bay.
The addition of the new motorcycles, valued at approximately $64 million, brings the total number of motorcycles under the P-Step to 435. Dr. Chang said further investment will be made to establish a P-Step unit in Area 1, particularly Hanover, to bolster operations in the Lucy and Green Island communities. He added that the new bikes are particularly welcome as the Christmas season approaches. Leoda Bradshaw and her cousin Roland Balfour, who are charged in relation to the murder of Philip Paulwell's daughter Soraya and her mother Tashina Patterson, are to return to the Home Circuit Court on March 6 next year. When the case was mentioned today, the prosecution indicated that the case file is incomplete. Justice Vinette Graham Allen then ordered that all outstanding statements must be submitted by January 30 and the forensic certificate must be submitted by February 29. 34-year-old Bradshaw, a U.S. naval officer, and her cousin Balfour, who have been in custody since their arrest, were further remanded. Bradshaw is facing 2 counts of capital murder, conspiracy to murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy to kidnapping, while Balfour is charged with 2 counts of accessory before the facts to murder and kidnapping. 2 other men, Shane Miller and Richard Brown, who were charged in connection with the killings, pleaded guilty and are now serving prison terms. The Crown is alleging that the mother and child were abducted from their St. Andrew home on September 9 and taken to East Kingston, where they were fatally shot. Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith has indicated Jamaica's support of the ruling of the International Court of Justice as it relates to a territory dispute between Guyana and Venezuela. This ahead of the upcoming referendum scheduled for Sunday, December 3, in which Venezuelans would be asked to approve the annexation of the Essequibo region and the incorporation of it into the Venezuelan state. Guyana had requested from the ICJ an indication of provisional measures in the case concerning the 1899 arbitral award. Today, the ICJ ordered Venezuela not to take any action to challenge, disrupt, or interfere with Guyana's long-standing control and administration of the Essequibo region, which constitutes more than two-thirds of Guyana's land territory, until the court has issued its final judgment on which state enjoys sovereignty over that territory. The court's order prohibits Venezuela from taking such measure or any other measure that would change the status quo in the territory, regardless of the outcome of the Venezuelan referendum on Sunday. Speaking in the Senate today, Mrs. Johnson-Smith expressed hope that Venezuela will abide by the ruling and participate in the adjudication process.
Even as Jamaica supports the court's order that both parties are to refrain from any action that aggravates the current situation, we note also that the court has said more particularly that the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela should, and I quote, refrain from taking any action which would modify the situation that currently prevails in the territory in dispute, whereby the Cooperative Republic of Guyana administers and exercises control over that area. Mr. President, this would have direct implications for the planned holding of a referendum by Venezuela on December 3rd. The order is also made pending the court's final determination of the validity of the arbitral award that established the land boundary between the two states. And in this regard, it is Jamaica's hope, as we have expressed on previous occasions, that Venezuela will participate meaningfully in that adjudication process.
She also expressed hope that a peaceful resolution can be reached in the land border dispute.
Mr. President, Jamaica expressly supports a statement issued earlier today by President of Guyana, His Excellency Irfan Ali, which welcomes the ruling and calls on Venezuela to join Guyana in demonstrating respect for international law and the principles that govern peaceful coexistence. It's a quote. We too view the ICJ adjudication process as a positive signal towards a peaceful resolution of this issue and one which will give validity to future outcomes. The government of Jamaica remains firmly committed to the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity of states as enshrined in the United Nations Charter, and Jamaica fully supports the work of the ICJ and its ability to deliver justice where there is a breach of United Nations founding principles in an impartial, transparent, and independent manner. In this regard, Guyana can continue to count on Jamaica's support of the CARICOM position in defense of its sovereign rights and territorial integrity.
Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith. Opposition Senator Donald Scott Maudsley has called for parliamentarians who are required to file statutory declarations to engage the Integrity Commission for greater clarity on what exactly they should file. This in light of concern that the IC has to be making follow-up queries with some persons, which sometimes result in their declaration not being approved due to outstanding information. Speaking in the Senate today, Scott Maudsley cited as an example the need to clarify what type of land valuation data is required by the IC.
But there is some discussion and some contention about exactly what it is you declare and exactly what value you declare. So what is market value? When there's a publication, the publications of the last two leaders of opposition's declarations, Mr. Phillips and Mr. Golding, have sparked some discussion as to, but how come this value is attributed to land? And one of the things that we try to work through is what value are you to give at the time you make the declaration? Are you to do an estimation of what the land would be worth now if you sold it, in addition to the purchase price? Something like that. I think that is important, that we get some clarification so that we don't have to go through the indignity of being told that we are not compliant.
She encouraged all to file their declarations on time. In response, Senate President Tom Tavares Finson agreed, adding that better communication is needed between the IC and civil servants. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie is calling for a monument to be erected at the site of the Kendal train crash in Manchester. Speaking at the handing over of a two-bedroom house under the Indigent Housing Program today in Kendal, Mr. McKenzie said his constituents are among those whose families were killed or injured in the 1957 crash. He said it is disappointing that nothing significant has happened to recognize the incident. He said Kendal is more than just a farming community and should be treated as such. The crash, regarded as the worst railway disaster in Jamaica's history, happened on September 1, 1957. At around 11:30 p.m., the train, carrying 1,600 passengers, derailed its tracks. Close to 200 persons lost their lives. Jamaica has recorded 12 dengue-related deaths, 8 of which are classified as suspected and 4 as confirmed cases. This, as the Health Ministry said, confirmed dengue cases across the island have surpassed the 1,000 mark. As of Thursday, November 30, there were 1,301 confirmed dengue cases in Jamaica. The Health Ministry said while dengue serotype 2, 3, and 4 have been identified among the population, dengue serotype 2 remains the dominant strain. All parishes continue to observe an increase in dengue cases in 2023 compared to 2022, with Kingston and St. Andrew reporting the highest number of cases for 2023. St. Thomas, however, continues to have the highest rate at 541.4 cases per 100,000 population, followed by Portland and then Trelawney. The ministry said the highest number of cases continue to be observed in the 5 to 14-year-old cohort at a rate of 623 cases per 100,000 population. Tributes are pouring in from across the Caribbean for former director of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, Dr. Carissa Etienne, who died this morning. The 71-year-old health expert, who was a native of Dominica, served as director of PAHO and World Health Organization WHO Regional Director for the Americas from February 2013 to January 2023. During her tenure, she led the regional response to the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, as well as efforts to control Zika and chikungunya epidemics and cholera and yellow fever outbreaks in Haiti and Brazil. Reacting to her passing this morning, Jamaica's Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, noted that Dr. Etienne dedicated her life to public health for many years. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. Meantime, Executive Director of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, Dr. Joy St. John, has expressed sadness and shock at what she described as the untimely passing of Dr. Etienne. Dr. St. John noted that Dr. Etienne's contributions to public health in the Americas were not only significant, but also transformative. She said her leadership and unwavering commitment to the Caribbean community's collective pursuits of healthier people, healthier spaces, and healthier Caribbean were a source of inspiration to many. Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley also expressed sadness at the passing of the health expert. Ms. Mottley said Dr. Etienne was a cherished friend of Barbados who provided round-the-clock guidance and support to the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. Jamaica's new Data Protection Act came into effect today. It's aimed at providing greater safeguards for the handling of the personal information of Jamaicans held in physical or electronic form. The legislation, which was passed in 2020, is poised to transform the way organizations manage personal data, including the collection, storage, utilization, disclosure, and disposal. More in this report from Donique Weston.
Entities, particularly those that process personal information on a daily basis, are required to implement measures to ensure the safety, security, and confidentiality of the data that they handle. Failure to do so could result in them facing harsh penalties, including hefty fines. These entities include public authorities, financial and educational institutions, health and security services providers, processors of sensitive personal data, among others. Under the new law, these organizations or individuals defined as data controllers are required to be registered with the Office of the Information Commissioner, OIC, effective December 1 and pay an annual fee. They are also obligated to appoint a responsible individual, such as a data protection officer, DPO, to oversee the controller's compliance with the Act. Persons or organizations that process personal data without registering with the OIC could face sanctions. Recognizing that some local entities will not be ready to implement the data security measures on December 1, the government has granted a 6-month grace period for them to register with the OIC. The OIC is encouraging persons who have been implementing the necessary organizational and technical measures to comply with the Data Protection Act and are ready to register to begin the process today by visiting its official website at www.oic.gov.jm. The OIC is responsible for monitoring compliance with the Act and attendant regulations, as well as advising the government on matters relating to data protection. It is also tasked with disseminating information to the public in relation to the operation of the Act and preparing and distributing guidelines that promote good practices to be adhered to by data controllers. The Information Commissioner aims to create a robust regulatory regime which will foster stakeholder buy-in while ensuring the quick and effective investigation of complaints and prosecution of contraventions.